far as maybe a local church is, you discover that so many people, due to position or other, they will tell you, they will leave the church, go find another place where they will be more welcome and all of that. So one thing I know, and I've seen over the years in our own church, is that this position and hierarchy has gotten down even to the youth. So it's no longer within the elders alone, even with the youth. And I feel personally, one way we can resolve it is that those who are elevated or will be elevated should be elevated on merit. You know, you elevate them on merit, not that I have the money, then I'm going to pay for this. I use my money to get here. So it should be by merit. Now, again, you will see some elevation that comes. I wonder how much work the person has done to get another elevation. I don't know whether you get, I'm trying to just be very technical. Okay, let me say from an apostle, you know, and I go to senior apostle. As an apostle, how much work of an apostle have I done to become senior apostle? So even Paul, the apostle, is an apostle. You know, and I said, I'm a senior apostle. Meanwhile, you don't even understand what you're supposed to do as an apostle. So an apostle in the church, you know, who is supposed to be found to be somebody you can rely on and speak to, will be in the same quagmire of all of this thing that we're saying. You will find them there. When there is conflict, ask them their position. Apostle, senior apostle, special apostle. So the question is, what criteria has elevated them to that position? Thank you.
I will still come back to you about the hierarchy, but I want our mother to talk more about the gossip. This gossip, which side of the church? I mean, among the men or the female, which one is the gossip is more very, very strong in the church? As a mother.
Brother Dio, you're putting me on a spot. Right now, we all know women are the biggest gossipers. We know that we women, we start the trouble, and when trouble starts, we hide behind our husbands, we hide behind our children, and we are the first to throw a fit and say, I'm not going to come to that church anymore. Forgetting the essence of you coming to, especially a CNS church. They say everybody comes into CNS for one thing or the other. You're coming because of a problem. Your problem was solved. And then you allow very trivial things to make you leave. You know, my husband always tells young mothers, especially those that are looking to be young mothers, that you're praying for children. Are you prepared? Because to be a mother, any young lady can be a mother, but you need to be prepared for the sleepless nights, for the, you know, early morning feedings and whatnot. The thing about it is most mothers aren't. They come to church late. They don't want anybody to tell them that you need to step out to feed your children or train your children well. That's not the job of the church. That's your job. I am one that can say, when I was raising my kids, I was never late to church because I prepared the night before. Everything you need to have prepared it. So when people talk to you, when the ushers come to you, you don't take offense. Oh, they don't want me here because my kids are making noise. Your kids are making noise and disturbing others. We need to be, you know, we need to do better. I really believe the mothers need to do better. Don't just because things aren't in your favor, throw the church under the bus. And that's what we normally have.
Before I hand over the microphone to Oresanya, he talked about hierarchy. Now, I want you to talk about the hierarchy. Being the wife of a chairman of a district, how do you think that the hierarchy issue, conflict should be solved in the church? How do you think? As you'll be an advisor to the district chairman himself. How do you think if such conflicts happen in the church? How do you advise him to handle it better?
Left to me, CNS needs to scrap this Oye issue. It all needs to go away. Let there be a leader, a woli. Everybody else is a sister, a brother. This way, respect is remained with those that respect is due unto. I do understand that CNS is on a hierarchy goal. I'm coming from an Anglican background, and for you to be a pastor, you have to go through all the trainings to be a pastor. For you to even be a member of the choir, it's not taken for granted in the Anglican Church. You pay your dues. You come in on time. You come for choir practice. If you don't, you could be the bishop's child and they still will not let you roll. But in CNS, we come in just anyhow. That is a problem. What about those that toe the line and do exactly as we say? You give a mother in Israel the chance to pray, and she tells you, oh, no, I didn't prepare for it. How did you become a mother in Israel? Because these are things that the youth are looking at, that the simplest of things you can't even do. Then why are you giving that grace? Because it's a grace. It's not an entitlement. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I will be coming back about the hierarchy because I want to believe the audience will agree with me that the hierarchy is the highest conflict in this food. And we must solve the problem today because we are growing up to that level. As I said before, please, I want you to draft your question. I know you have so many questions that you want to ask. There will be room for that immediately we finish this question from this place. Yes, to you, sir. As a prophet and administrator, a former president of the fellowship, there must have been so many gossip and then grudges that the gossip built. How do you think, or how did you manage when such happened during your administration? And how do you think we can resolve the gossip before it escalates and damage things?
Okay, thank you once again. Personally, I feel when there is gossip and then it's coming to you, to your table, that this and this is going on. One thing you must understand, the Bible has also made us understand that we should find out the truth. You know, you don't just take gossip because they come to you and then you also escalate that same gossip. Now, one thing I've learned over the years is that when people come to you and they bring gossip, you know, can they also say the same thing in the presence of that person? So when you cannot bring, for me, I feel like when somebody comes to say something and you feel that you don't want to be part of it and you want to be a different person, the best thing for you to do is, okay, this person did this, were you there, are you sure? Okay, can you repeat the same thing in the presence of the person? Then bring all of them together. So in that way, it's no longer a gossip. If the person can say it. And then one thing again is this, even when you find out that what you have been told is true, you must have to be able to resolve with love. You don't condemn, you understand? You bring the person back and restore the person. So gossip, the best way to stop it from spreading is to tackle it immediately. Call the people that are involved, ask questions, and then ensure that you're able to dissolve that particular thing immediately.
Thank you so much. Now, after my own question being given to you, because I'm still having enough questions for you, but I want to give room for enough questions from our brothers and sisters in the house so that they can be able to express themselves also. I know they must have created a problem also on their mind, and I want them to express. Now it's over to you, brothers and sisters, for you to ask your own question. If you are having questions, please signify so that we can call on to you to ask a question. Please, if you're having any question about conflicts in the church, one, I can see two. Please come forward as you are raising your hand so that we can give you the microphone to ask your question. The number one man, the number two, and the number three man, number four, number five. Please, sisters, I need 4 slots for sisters so that they can ask their own question about that. Okay, one sister, please come forward. The first sister there. Is there any other person, please? We are having only one sister to ask question. Please, if you're still having question, you can ask a question. Now, I will not be partial, but I want to be a gentleman to the God. So let's give her the grace to ask the question first before we proceed to the. It's not by hierarchy now. It's by the grace that Mommy said. Yeah. So I want her to ask a question. Please ask your question.
Thank you so much for the honor. Observing all protocol. My name is Raji Joy of Waime. The question I want to ask has been a burden that lately our youths are in the pursuit of this position. And I want to know if the youth should be given the privilege to be ordained as special when they are in the age of 30, 22, and 40. Because I really want to know the push. What is behind the rush of our young ones attaining that position? And after getting that position, they want to contend with their elders. Please, I want to understand, what's the push? Thank you so much.
I think I will put the question right to our brother Oresanya to answer the question, because he is very much in the best position. But I'm going to give Mommy also, because she is an assistant to Daddy also at the district level. So, Roy Oresanya, please keep that on record. The second question, please.
All right, good day, everyone. My name is David Olayinka from Idimo District. My first question will come from the question that you asked concerning conflict in church settings. So what's the highest conflict in church setting? And I was able to note down gossip, personal and selfish opinions, and hierarchy struggle. So my question from that area is that how do we handle it when we have a situation whereby others that you are in office together or position together feel somehow intimidated by your activity in your best way? When they feel intimidated, like you are trying to prove you're better than them, whereas we are all in the same office. So how do you react to that? How do you handle that to make sure that it does not lead to conflicts? And secondly, in the aspect of gossip, yes, we know gossip spread faster than disease. So for the one who is being gossiped about, we know how the effect of gossip could be on anyone. So how do you react to that? With the effect of it on you, how do you handle that to make sure that it doesn't make you do what is not supposed to be done?
Thank you so much. I think you will answer that. Before you proceed, I want us to take the 3 questions first. The moment you answer the question, gossip, and then you can take the little part of how to handle the intimidation about hierarchy.
Regarding gossip, just like I said, it takes 2. But when the gossip is about you, you do have a right to confront the person. That doesn't mean it has to be malicious. It just means you need clarity. And then you have the right to say your truth. Because in everything, there's always the truth, there's a lie, and then there's the in-between. People believe the lies before they hear the truth. And that's where gossip becomes bad. And we also understand that gossip is also sin. It's part of sin. We are not supposed to sin. So, I hope I have answered your question. The second one was intimidation. If you are doing everything you are supposed to do in your position, what do you care what other people think? I'm sorry, I'm a very practical person. I don't care what anybody else thinks about me. Once I know that what I'm doing is right, I forge forward. I don't let them hold me back because I'm not answerable to anybody. I'm only answerable to God. Thank you.
You can do better for one to clap for. Thank you so much. Now I want to go to, before coming back to you, I want him to take the first question. Why, you are a youth, why the rush to the highest ranking position in the church?
All right. Thank you. That part. It has the first leg, the second, and the third. They said a nation of young ones, if I get that correctly, into the position of special arm. Rush. And then contending with elders. Now, if anyone is ordained into any office or position, as it were, I'm not taking special apostle as a focus now. You can be a ladura and still contend with somebody. Doesn't mean that you must be special apostle. Now, if somebody is given a position or ordained into a particular office, and then the person is contending against the elder, you then definitely know that that is the essence of going for that particular position. So the person is in that office primarily because he wants to contend against the elders. Now, when you say why the rush, now there should be criteria. If you remember before now, there were age to these things. You know, from here, there, that's where you're going to be ordained. But over the years, you know, that has not been truly followed, as it were. Now, another thing that can actually give you ordination into a higher office will be your service. You know, I don't believe that you must be 70 years to be ordained a special apostle. If you have truly seen to be somebody who has truly served and served in the church diligently. Now, Samuel was a little boy. God did not look at him as a little child before he called him. And Eli had to ask him, what is God saying? What has God told you? So God does not look at age to call you into an office or to ordain. So in our fold, it shouldn't be about age permanently to say, this is where, okay, let me take an example. You are 90 years, 80 years, 100 years to be ordained a special apostle. What work do you want to do for God at that time? Are you getting what I'm saying? Now, it should be now when I'm young, you know, that is when I need to work. You know, so if the ordination is for service truly, and you tax them to serve, again, those who are presenting and bringing forth, you know, Baba will say, and you suppose 1 way, 1 year. Now, taking the blame back to them, or whatever it is, you are the one that said it, not me. So those who are bringing them should properly scrutinize, screen those people that they are bringing to ensure they are fit, spiritually, physically for the position they have been ordained to. So if you bring such a person, that person who is knowledgeable spiritually will not contend with others because he knows it's the same. I get what I'm saying. But when you bring every person into it, the person will definitely come to contend against position. So it can be pastor, can be prophetic, anything, not just special apostle. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please, you can follow us on Facebook on International Youth Fellowship TSMC, and then on Instagram at IYFCSMC or IYFCSMC_. On TikTok, IYFCSMC_. Please, you can drop your questions, then we will be able to answer it over here. The next question, please.
Praise God.
Oh, yeah.
I'm by name Samson Zaka Usman from Jazon district, Jazon, Madakia district. My questions go like this. Does this ranking have a special assignment for those rank? This ranking, is there special assignment for those ranks? That is one. Two, in a case where there is a pastor and a leader in the church, and these people are fighting each other for position, what is the solution to that? Thank you.
Okay, I want you to answer the question before we proceed, because the question you are asking are very tactical and vital. So we need to treat it before we proceed to the next one, because we are expecting more technicality from your questions. Thank you so much.
All right. To answer that question straight. Now, one thing is, he asked first if there is a particular assignment, if I get that correctly, for every position. Our church is organized. We must give it to our church. Now, when you have a most senior special apostle, his work or assignment in that church is more than who is special, senior special apostle, for instance. Now, you discover that when you have, I can't be a special apostle and I have a senior special apostle, then I want to share the grace, or I want to take the benediction. You understand? But that should not just be the primary rule, to just take benediction. Now, it has things, okay, take for example, when you have senior special apostle, and they are in maybe like a council, where they advise the popular. So apart from the role they play in the church, they serve as elder in the local church. They serve as elder to this conference. So when there are things that this decision of elders to take, now listen, even in heaven there's hierarchy. You understand? In heaven there's hierarchy, and then you have to bring them. They are the ones who are like the governing body and decision-making body. They are decision-making body of the church. So they have a role, they have assignments. That is why it's not everybody that can rise to the position of the most senior special apostle, for example. You understand? It is service and diligence over the years that you are being promoted. Now, again, he said, when you have a leader and you have somebody who is a special apostle, for example, and then I think he was trying to say, how do you manage them? Now, you must understand this. It is possible that you can have a leader in a church who is a leader of the church, who is a special apostle, and then you have, okay, let me give you an example. In my district, in a particular church, we have the leader, the special apostle, and then we have the chairman worship there. Now, their role does not conflict each other. The district chairman is most senior special apostle. So, you know,
Ibadan district, Ibadan zone. I would like to firstly ask, is it true that Oye and calling into office, is it true that it is really based on merit or based on pocket? Because we have many instances, we have many special apostles who cannot teach, who cannot preach, who cannot even the Ori Ofe, just the only Ori Ofe, We have many special mothers who cannot pray, who cannot teach on the pulpit. After 20 minutes, they will say things like, please help me with my microphone. And this person is a special apostle. So does that mean that even if I'm not qualified for it, as long as I have 400,000 naira and I am old enough to be somebody's grandparent, I can become senior special apostle? Or it is truly based on merit? Because it's not looking like it in our church. And the same thing happens to the offices that we're being called to. For example, the prophets, the pastors and all that. I am being raised in the prophetic household. I have an ordination, a calling by God, in quotes, for the prophetic. But we know how much these PITs pay for them to get ordained into the prophetic. So it is just like after Tabatik Bokpanyeton, they hustle on how to get the money back. And you are asking them not to do it too, not to turn a bella. But they need to get, some of them have to go and borrow money. We need to strike, I need you to help us strike a balance to how money has become an idol when it comes to the issue of titles and ordinations in the church. And then the second part of it has to do with the youth and the elders now. The youth and the elders, I'll use my own local assembly as an instance because this is a leadership meeting and I believe that you can help us with ideas on how to run it. We just got a chapel for our own church. But it's not as though that is, please help your neighbor with that translation. I don't know. But it is that it is just as though you are being given a chapel and then they are still overrunning everything, overseeing everything, no free hand. Even to the fact that the youth chapel don't have a purse. We need to remit our money into the church purse, and when we have youth who wants to give, they don't want to give to the church. Because we want to give to the chapel. So, and we don't want to bypass anything to go and open an account for ourselves. But yet, these leaders are not giving us free hand, as it were, thus stunting the growth of the chapel and many of us. And many people are already leaving the chapel. Many people are already leaving the church entirely. So what can be done for this to be helped? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Before you ask a question, man of God, I want to take the first part of the question about the homogeneous money being paid for a position, the rank, and then why you take the prophetic counsel and the other parts. I will give you floor later. Thank you. I know you will be eager to answer that question. Thank you so much. I will give you the privilege to answer the first question that he asked. Then he will answer the two questions.
My view, very simple. I feel it's wrong that because of money, that's the only reason why a person gets a position. But the cross is bared by the person who gets a position and doesn't do anything with it. So when you say in front of God and man that yes, this position, you are entitled to it, I leave you to God. Who am I to judge you? Money is the root of all evil. We all know that. In churches, nobody wants to be sideswiped, as we say. But at the same time, let your conscience be your judge. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Man of God, prophet, please, I want you to take the aspects of the calling into office as he asked the question, sir.
All right, thank you again. Let me start with the last part of the question he mentioned. Yes. Now, he asked a question, then ended up with another question that answered the first. Now, what do I mean? He said, for example, in their church, and he went again by saying, You understand? That means totally just release the thing. Now, it means that the youth feel that they can handle it. They have come to a position where they should be given a free hand to operate in the church. And at the same time, where you are asking for a release, and then giving you a free hand to operate in the church. At the same time, what you are asking for is leadership position. So we should not say, now when we talk about why the rush again, to attain a position, and at the same time we are saying, they are not giving us a free hand to operate. We are asking that we want to be elevated. We want to be in a position where our voices can be heard. And we are attaining that level of being placed in a hierarchy. Then we are questioning the fact that we are not being given the free hand to operate. They are two different things. So the question is this: what age was David when he was made a king? You understand? At what age was Saul when he was called to be a king, to lead Israel? So let me tell us, your position and the hierarchy is not in your age, it's in what you carry. You can be a child, and what you carry is enough to announce you to the world. You deny that child, only Psalm 24, on it again. It doesn't make, it means that the person lacks wisdom. So why am I bringing God to it? Do you understand what I'm saying? So you don't, they can be, you can't, it's not possible to erase them. You always find them. You understand? Let the wheat and the shaft go together. A time will come where they will all be fitted. Are you getting what I'm saying now? So even outside there, you are pastor. Are you saying that you don't have pastors outside our church who does the same thing? I have seen where a pastor says, for you to be delivered, you have to be flogged. I have seen pastor where he said, for you to be delivered, you have to naked yourself in the church. I've said a pastor where he said, for you to be delivered, you have to take, is it cheek or something? It's happening all over the social media. But there are pastors, those who are doing that, with time they will filter away. Now, we are all coming to the revelational knowledge that even a child, when you are being told the revelation, you will know that this is not for you. Are you getting what I'm saying now? So, now let us now come back to where you said they have to take 100,000, 500,000 as his word for you to be ordained. Listen, Jeremiah said, before I formed you, I knew you and I've called you and ordained you a prophet. Can I tell you something? The ordination you are getting is just for the physical thing for everybody to see. Listen, you might not be ordained to wear this, but you are a prophet by calling. So it is for the world to know you and recognize you, for us to be together, that I am a prophet. Prophet Toby is hanging this, I am hanging this. So we know that we are together by association, by counsel. But there are many prophets who are not hanging this, who are carrying prophetic grace and anointing. So it is only when you want to belong to, and in every association or organization, there are commitments that you must do to belong there. So if you feel that you want to be there, and then nobody forces you to do it, and these are the things you need to fulfill to be there, then you go ahead and fulfill it. But most commonly is that if I spent 100,000, I want to get the 100,000 back in a short while. Are you getting what I'm saying now? Now, and they said, when I pay, if I begin to start the work, I'll begin to build the people. You understand? When I build them so that I can gather back everything I've expended so far. Now the thing is this. That's kind of a prophet. Your judgment, the judgment is with him and God. They will fix you away with time. There are many people who are prophets, but the anointing is already dried. I don't know whether you get what I'm saying. Now, but for you to say, what we're saying is that they pay definitely for every position. Okay, let me ask you, sorry, I'm taking much time. Even outside the church, you want to become a pastor. Don't you go to theology school? You go to theology school, you pay the school fees, you pay the handout, you do everything. Put all of together. When you hang the collar, you are paid to attain that position. Are you getting what I'm saying now? So for everything, there's a commitment. And I believe soon, God is going to help us. That's why we are all here. To ensure we bring the necessary change into that position. I don't know if I've answered the question, sir.
Thank you so much. Please, you can proceed to your question, sir.
Praise God. I stand on the existing protocol. I'm by name Amos Ishaku from Kano District, Zaria Zone. My question goes like this. We are in an era where we have content, we have container without content. We have people who aspire leadership without the charisma of a leader. If we reflect back to the CNS of old, we talk about steps for you to become, to acquire every office. We know your commitment, your accountability, your honesty, being truthfulness is being considered. Somebody cannot just come today and become more senior apostle, special apostle. We know all steps are being followed. And things were done based on spiritual standard. To an extent that they go spiritually, inquiring if this person is called to that office by God. And at that time, they have the best of its kind. And now we have come to a generation where we are trying to have a generating income and forsaking the spiritual standard. Forsaking the spiritual standard, and which has become a problem in CNS today. Which has become a problem. Sir, how can we go back to the CNS of old? Because the new CNS we feel is no longer giving us the content of the CNS of the old. That we feel that our babas, they were not educated, but they were educated in the spirit. And we know the most education you need to prosper in life is the education of the Holy Spirit. So how can we go back to the CNS of old so that the CNS that they know then will still come back, that will speak good of us, not this one that we are seeing today?
Thank you. You've made your point.
I come to doctrine. I come to doctrine. Now, we have a challenges on the doctrine today. We are talking about crisis in the church. We have youth, especially during the Lent, that they feel that this system does not suit them. And people have left that because we don't draw, we don't sing, we don't dance. How can we balance this issue lingering between the youth and the leadership, and whereby when you have a leader who is drinking, who is smoking, and you are seeing him as a wrong figure and is trying to teach you more of the doctrine, in that instant, will you follow the doctrine that is teaching you and not giving you the physical and the spiritual standard that you feel should be your lesson?
Thank you so much. God bless you. Please, before we proceed to any question, if you want to ask question about this rank of a thing, I think you should try to dive to another, because I think we've answered enough question about hierarchy. Please, if you are having that question, please kindly give us another. Thank you. Now, to the question about going back to old days of CNS and then the Lenten period is also part of the first question that he asked. So I want you to treat that so that we can proceed to the next question, ma'am.
Thank you. Us going back to the inception of CNS is not going to happen. We are moving forward. You all are educated. Our forefathers were not. So I don't presume anybody wishes to move back to those states. Most of them were not educated, not because they didn't want to be, but that was not the thing in their time or in their era. In our time, most of you are PhD holders, most of you are master's holders, most of you have your BS. So how do we go back? We can only do better than what our fathers were doing. And it starts from each and every single one of you, not what your leaders are doing. Listen, your leaders sooner or later, God willing, you will outlive them. And you should be able to show better CNS than what they're doing. I always say, if you just follow the trend, you get the same result. But if you draw your own path, the results you get will be way different. All of you coming together was because of some people came together and realized they needed to teach leaders how to be leaders. So if you are doing this kind of leadership movement, why wouldn't you succeed? My prayer is we succeed. My prayer is we forge forward. Thank you.
I think the question has been answered, but I will give just you to answer these questions in 2 minutes so that we can proceed to the next one. Please, we be taking questions written, just few, because we are running out of time now. We are supposed to round up in a few minutes, but we're just going to give you grace. So please answer the question in just 2 minutes, then we give room for the remaining questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. When you said fathers were not educated, they only have the spiritual knowledge. Now listen, the Bible made it clear to us. It says, study to show yourself approved. Listen. Okay? I thought you were saying, now study to show yourself approved. Let me make us understand. Your spiritual ability will meet your preparedness. If you're not prepared for anything, you have to be prepared. Our fathers were prepared. They have the spiritual knowledge. Now, you see, everyone that followed Jesus were not idle. They had their professions before they were called. Are we together? Paul was not an illiterate. Luke was a doctor. Peter was a professional fisherman. So, listen, how do you now reach the modern age and the world when you're not educated? You want people to just... Now, that is why, you know, one of the problems we have in the church is cultural background. Where you want to speak only in Yoruba. How do you expect somebody who doesn't understand Yoruba to come to your church? So you're not educated. You want every of your message to be in one language. You can't propagate the gospel and reach the people the way you ought to. So the world is evolving and we're changing. We're all educated, that's why we are here. So your spiritual ability and your education has to be together. You bind them together, and that's how you can function well in your calling. The Lord bless us in Jesus' name.
Thank you so much. Please, you can proceed with your question.
Good day, ma'am. Good day, sir. Good day, everybody. My name is Olaiwaju from Mount Erep Intercontinental District, UK, Europe Zone. It's under the Europe Zone. So I think we can all agree that if I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, our major problem in the whole of CNS is this hierarchy of a thing. It's a major problem. Because if we are going to question every individual here, we all have one thing or the other to say about this particular issue. So I'm going to quickly make a scenario where there is a person in the church, a man, let me say a man in the church that has this gift. He can pray, he can preach, he has the gift, he knows how to do it. And people with hierarchy always push themselves to the front, and they be like, no, this man can't be doing it every time. And those people that are talking, they don't know how to do it, but because of the hierarchy, because of the rank they have to push themselves to the front because, like, okay, let them see us too. And they don't really know how to do these things. But this person, he can do it, but he doesn't have a rank yet. The next thing you'll be hearing is, okay, why not take a and what if the person doesn't even have the money? Does he have to go and borrow? That's one case. Another case is, I went to it, and I actually had it in mind that I was going to testify that particular Sunday. And they got to the time for Thanksgiving, and they were like, I was already seeing people fighting for microphone that this person will go before me. Some people are staying back, that maybe Aladura has to go before special prophets, something like that. And there are two people that they are of the same, like they have the same rank. And this person is staying back, that this person has to go before me.
Thank you.
How can we pass this message when we get back home?
Thank you.
Without having to upset anybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. God bless. Thank you. I think the questions are already being answered in the past, even before the question. So maybe you came late. That's why you couldn't pick it up. We've answered that. Thank you so much. I want to take apology for that. Your question, please.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. By the virtue of nomenclature, I am Omole Olatunde from Model Parish, Glory Model Parish. My question goes thus. I will have to say apologies to going back to the hierarchy, but fine. I won't make mention of what they've asked already, because most of my questions they've asked them already. My question is this: the money being paid for getting the position, is it to make the commoners not to have access to the post? And also, is there a provision for the commoners if they are not able to have the money to get to this particular post? Is there a provision for them to actually have this position we're talking about? And also, I have a question, because I believe we are all leaders in this forum. In aspect of our ladies, which they will most likely be a mother in the next future, there is something that do happen which irritates me a lot. Is it I do for all special mother in Israel to be fighting to see it accordingly at harvest, just on the name of maybe finding a way of sharing cooler in harvest? Is it probably I do, or maybe is normal thing to be done in harvest? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the question. I think this question also has been answered in the first place. If you are very, very attentive to the teaching, it has been answered. Sorry, your next question, sir.
All right.
Sorry, please, if it is about hierarchy or rank, please, I think we've answered enough question on that. Please give us another technical question. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Standing on the already established protocol, my name is Israel Oguniran from New Covenant District, Europe Zone. And this is my question. In our church today, we will understand that the prophetic and the pastoral ministry, there is a clash. I don't want to call it a clash, but it is obvious that the prophetic ministry is what is dominating the church. And the reason why I want to bring out this point is because of we the youth that we are coming. Because it is easy to identify prophets nowadays in our church, but our pastors are not always proud to put on their search. I can say that we have pastors in this gathering, but none of them are on their search, and the prophet will always be on theirs. I also want to say something. I mean no disrespect or no harm, but from my observation, I've come to understand that it seems the church is focused on the prophetic aspects, the prophetic ministry. And I want to cite an example. By the grace of God, I've been coming to prophetic, Oreb and both pastoral for some years now. And I want to cite an example. The former CSP for pastor is a pastor, but after a time, we get to understand that he came for the prophetic ordination. So are we saying that can we not have the prophetic gift and operate the pastoral, or have the pastoral and operate the prophetic without being a prophet?
Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. Thank you so much. Please, I'm giving room for just 2 persons to ask question. Before we proceed to your question, I want you to take 2 minutes to answer the question in asthma.
So the prophetic as well as the pastoral ministries are supposed to work hand in hand. One should not be above the other. A pastor is more of a theological ministry than the prophetic. The prophetic is the word of God coming from God to us. CNS was based on this prophetic ministry. We cannot shy away from it. We cannot discount it, even though we want to use the education to make ourselves sound better or make ourselves more like other denominations. We're not redeemed. For your information, redeemed came from CNS. The origination of redeemed came from CNS. So, if they came from us, that doesn't mean they're better. We just need to do better. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Al. I want you to take that in just 1 minute. The question asks about pastoral and our prophetic. I think he answered are you satisfied with his question, with the answer? I want you to say something.
All right. The person who asked that question, if you were here some years back at the conference and convention, that particular topic was tackled. Now, where it was mentioned in that conference, and that some persons will be ordained pastors, they will now go again as prophets, and they take 3 to 4 ordinations. And it was especially said in that gathering that choose the one that you know is your call and pronounce and remain there. Do not say, I am a pastor, prophet, evangelist. No. One is more pronounced. You are more comfortable in one. You know. So when you begin to join everything together, it's because you are confused. Sorry, please. Sorry for the long. Person can be confused. I don't know whether I'm a pastor, I'm a prophet. If you're a prophet, you will know boldly. You will say, I'm a prophet. If you're a pastor, you will state that. Now, the question he said, where some persons are ordained pastors within a few time, without anybody in mind, even though he was trying to go that direction. Now, then later became prophets. Can I say this now? Let me just, on a lighter mood. I have seen where pastors will stand on the pulpit and say, I prophetically proclaim. I speak as a prophet. Now, and I tell many people, if you're a pastor, just do your pastoral proclamation. Don't prophetically proclaim, because you're a pastor. That's on a lighter note. But let me tell you, there are persons who are pastors now become prophets. They've switched to prophets. It could be that is what is actually being pronounced on them, or that is their calling. Listen, if you are going somewhere and you have not gotten there, you can go round, or you come to a position. When you get to that place, that is where you are most comfortable. So whether somebody was a prophet, went to pastors, or it means that now you have come to identify your calling. So it is not my calling. I can't defend that. But the conference has said, if you're a pastor, choose the one you want to be. Do not just put everything together and call yourself all. So I pray that the Lord will help us.
Thank you so much. Now, I'm having 4 brothers to ask questions. Please, you are opportune to ask just 1 question. So I'm expecting 4 questions from you, brothers. Please ask your question.
Thank you very much, sir. My name is Brother Kayode Olatunji, all for the way of Fountain of Blessing District. My question, I would love to make some certain things. In our hymn, we have a particular that says, "Ìpìlẹ̀ tí Jésù fi lélẹ̀ lèyí ni Bàbá Ládùúrà ń tọ̀. Kẹ́dà má ṣe rò pé ó yẹ kúrò níbẹ̀." Then there's another biblical backup that states that agbo kékeré kó má ṣe bẹ̀rù dúdú òun Olúwa láti sọ di ńlá. Now, why did I bring this to analogy? Is the fact that in respect to investments, when we look at the church, yes, we know the church needs money to grow so that things can be done with and to meet the century. But the fact is, the burden of the money given to the members are making the members down. Now, why am I saying this? Looking at a member that is in a church, at the same time, is also in a club. Okay, let's say Omogun is in Omogun, then Ajodun Omogun, 500,000. And maybe they are just 4. And at this station, they need to contribute 500,000. And there is a member in the church among them that wants to do wedding too. And they still need to attend that wedding. Because if they don't, it might cause issue. So what can we do to that in respect to the investment to help the church? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think, Mami, you're going to answer that later. You're going to answer the question later. Let me have your question.
Yes, my name is Brother Kendi Ayuribe from Lokoja Zone, Lokoja District. My question is this. I don't know how the church is going to solve the conflicts that is happening between creation of districts. These are major issues. Creation of districts, approvals of districts. We just see a lot of districts is being approved and they are not in oneness, they are not, you see small church here, you see another small church here. Within a line, you see a movement church, at the end of the day, they are not even up to 5 or 10 people in that church. Everybody wants to be a leader, at the end of the day. And they will come to the national will not even go there. Check their district, check around in that location. They will just approve a district for them. And it's costing a lot of disunity between so many churches.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please say a round of applause for this brother. Thank you so much. Yes, your own question. A question, sir.
All right. Good afternoon, sirs and ma. My name is Charles Okensen from Dakibu. I have a question as regards conflict. I listened to your back and forth about conflict and how to deal with conflict personally. But how do you deal with conflict as an institution? And that is to say that the elders would not come to us to ask for clarity. The elders would not come to us to ask beyond what they've heard. I mean, gossip would travel like wildfire. They would hear that before they would hear your own thoughts, your pure, true, on that thought. So here's the thing. In 2-3 levels, the elders are misters. For instance, the youth fellowship executives are elders in this gathering. There is conflict resolution with those elders, but then there is also conflict resolution that tries to bridge the gap between the youth sect and the elders of the church. That is the church leaders and the rest. So how do you, is there a order of proceeding? I know we are a church of a lot of doctrines and the rest. And having you yourself sat with elders and all of this, is there an order to which conflicts can be presented such that we're not just listened to, so that it is not just heard. We're not just speaking for hearing's sake, and we get okay. It's not like you are submitting a CV to an uncle that would never forward your CV out of his inbox and all of that. It is beyond talking. We want to also be heard and get feedback from all of that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sorry. Okay, let's take the answers to the. Okay. We want to answer the 3 questions asked before the CPC chairman asked his own question. I want you to address that first question and then the second question while you take up the third one, then we go for the fourth one.
The gentleman that had the question about dues in church, honestly, each church needs to evaluate how to manage things with their members. The church I currently attend in Nigeria, they're very cognizant of the fact that the people are struggling. So if you're in 4 or 5 different bands, they make it minimal, especially for the women, because of course the church is more women than men. It is the men that they literally task, and I understand it's heavy. If you cannot afford it, nothing stops you from saying, I'm sorry, I can't afford this. This is how much I can do. That doesn't make you a bad person. Somebody else could afford double, and they will do more. But if you can't speak up for yourself, nobody else would. So I hope I answered your question. Thank you. Now, the second question about how do you manage between the bridge between the elders and the youth. In every youth ministry, my opinion is there should be a youth coordinator, or as you call it in Nigeria, a shepherd. The coordinator or the shepherd's responsibility is to carry the issues of the youth forum to the elders in council. This way, it's not a child that is speaking to his fathers in a rash manner. He or she would be able to know how to appeal to them and let them understand that the youth need this, or the youth are going in this direction. The mandate is then, if the church feels that they still need the youth in their church, they will yield. In our church in the US, and Eric is very familiar, I used to be a big mouth youth coordinator. What my youth wanted, we got. Not because I was the pastor's wife, but because even if the church was not ready to foot the bill, I would work to foot the bill for the youth. I would take them on retreats. I would take them to conferences. I would take them to anniversaries. It's a commitment. It's not a joke. To be a youth leader, you need to step up and be there. And when they see that you are ready to take the mantle, they will relax. In our district, Washington, if we know we are going somewhere, we put on the plate every single Sunday until we reach the goal that we're looking for. Everything else is handled. I have 13, 14-year-olds that do part-time jobs just to raise money to go to retreat. You're paying 10,000 naira. It's nothing compared to what the US kids pay. When a child has to pay $250, that's nearly 300,000 naira. But what they get is a cushy life because that's what they expect. So your job as youth leaders is